Thank you, everybody, for coming. We, as you know, we arrested Dereck Taylor Holt, age 22, with a number of offenses involved in one of the most serious crimes that we've had in Lancaster County history. One of the most heinous crimes that we've had that did not result in a homicide. Mr. Holt's been charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault, 3 counts of simple assault, 3 counts of recklessly endangering another person, ethnic intimidation, unlawful restraint, and false imprisonment, 3 counts each, 1 count of robbery, and 1 count of burglary. The robbery, the burglary, the aggravated assault are all felonies of the first degree, which is the most serious grading we have in Pennsylvania. There's also 1 count of theft. In other words, an incredible amount of offenses, some of which would carry a mandatory sentence in light of the victim's age for the elderly. You know, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I like to think that there's crimes that I just haven't thought of are going to take place, and we're ever going to have to make an arrest or sit here and talk to you about, and the chief and his officers talk to the community about. And to say that I'm shocked by this, and we're all shocked by this, is an understatement. I want to commend the chief, his department, and all the departments in Lancaster County for making a swift arrest of this. Actually, Saturday evening, they would have had him in custody. I was concerned when I got the initial call about the facts of this, that this was going to be a difficult case to solve, based on what we had from the witnesses at the time. But we had people come forward, and great collaboration with Liddittsboro, Millersville Borough, and Ephrata Police Department in particular, working closely with Northern Regional and the chief, that we were able to make a swift arrest and put the community somewhat at ease. Obviously, we have a job to do. He's still presumed innocent. We do have to find him, prove him guilty in the court of law, and we will do that. And he'll face justice for these terrible offenses. The details go on and on and on. I don't know whether you've been given many of them, I think, in the press release. Those are the ones we can publicly talk about. I don't intend to go through them all in general detail, but we can if you have any particular questions. As you know, he broke in, or got into the home surreptitiously, posing as an insurance salesman dressed in a suit with a briefcase. The residents of the home were 3 women between the ages of 84 and 90. 2 were home at the time. After the ruse of entry and talking about things for a little bit passed, and some time passed, he dropped the ruse and began the crimes of violence that he perpetrated, from using a stun gun on them, kicking, slapping, punching them. Quite frankly, things that are just unfathomable for what we're talking about doing, really, to anybody, but in particular elderly women, defenseless women who are doing nothing but trying to live their lives in their own home. And that stands out to me. As you know, I've talked to you all many times before about the seriousness of home invasions, and it doesn't get much more serious than this. And we've certainly had a few in Lancaster County recently that stand out. This one and the murder of Doug Herr a few months ago. He had plenty of time to think about this crime beforehand, to plan it out. He had plenty of time there. He was there for approximately a couple hours at least. We are extremely fortunate and thankful that we're not talking about 3 counts of homicide today. And it's through no real actions of him. What it is a family member had stopped by to check on the residents and found them. He left them duct taped, bound, and at their ages and conditions, had no one come by, I think we'd be having a very different news conference, and we'd be talking about funerals and their deaths. And it's only extremely fortunate that we're not having that. They did have serious health consequences. I know one of them suffered a heart attack, one had a broken shoulder, and the other one has a brain bleed. The hospital does some phenomenal things, and my understanding is they're doing pretty well under the circumstances. But the thought of leaving 3 women of these ages duct taped and bound It's really incomprehensible, and we've got to do everything in our power to make sure that he suffers the consequences for the choices that he made during these terrible crimes.